Imagine waking up one morning knowing that just in a few hours you're going to get a call from someone you've never met ordering you to kill dozens of people. This is what happened to me on November 7th, 2004. I joined the Army in January 2004. In July of that same year, I was deployed on my first deployment to Iraq. And in November of that same year, I arrived in Fallujah. I was part of an artillery group that fired 155mm rounds into the city during Operation Phantom Fury. Many of you may remember the battle from media coverage. You may also have read it in newspapers and magazines. The Battle of Fallujah, Operation Phantom Fury, was the largest hand-to-hand combat the U.S. has had since 1968. Regardless, if you have seen this in the media or not, it is important you understand what happened during this historical period of your life. Operation Phantom Fury happened because of attacks on contractors earlier in 2004, which prompted U.S. troops to strategically figure out a way to enter the city. You will also learn how Marines and soldiers were prepared for this big fight. Finally, you will understand the effects this battle left behind for both American soldiers and the insurgency. Let's get started by taking a look at what caused this operation to take place. Operation Phantom Fury happened because of an incident in March 2004. On March 31st, 2004, a group of contractors, U.S. contractors, were stationed working in Fallujah. They were captured, tortured, killed, burned, and hung by a bridge over the Euphrates River. Troops entered the city shortly after that in the First Battle of Fallujah in May. This was not as successful. We pulled out because of the amount of insurgency that was in the city. A November 2004 Time magazine quotes, "Fallujah was billed as a climatic clash between roughly 10,000 U.S. soldiers and Marines and about 2,000 newly minted Iraqi fighting men against 3,000 armed militants who have turned the city into Iraqi's biggest insurgent haven," unquote. On November 7th, Marines outside the city called my platoon and ordered us to fire countless artillery rounds into Fallujah, clearing the way for the Marines to enter the city that night. These troops had the equipment that was necessary for success. Marines and soldiers were properly prepared for Operation Phantom Fury. They had new equipment. This new equipment included brand new night vision goggles, which allowed our Marines to go in and attack at night. Most of our battles in Iraq happened at night. The M4 was the weapon that replaced the M16 and made it quicker and more agile for Marines to enter the city. Signal blocking devices were developed shortly before the battle to block IEDs and counter the insurgency. IEDs are improvised explosive devices used on our equipment. And fire retardant uniforms were developed to also counter these IEDs so American soldiers and Marines would not burn. Here is an example of a fire retardant uniform. I'm going to pass this around so you can feel the material. Communication between soldiers and Marines was also improved and was very significant during this battle. Journalist Sladen Hollis quoted General Rick Natansky saying, "The Marine and Army artillery operated as one. They spoke the same language and had the same pride and professionalism," unquote. The new equipment and great communication created favorable aftermath. Effects were felt by both sides after Operation Phantom Fury. According to the same interview with General Natansky, more than 2,000 insurgents were killed with an additional 1,200 taken into custody. This also cut the supply route in the Anbar province from Syria and Jordan. Just over 100 coalition forces' lives were taken during the operation. In conclusion, so today we learned Operation Phantom Fury was a result of brutal killings of American contractors in the city of Fallujah on March 31st, 2004. U.S. forces were prepared for the fight, and the outcome of the battle favored coalition forces. For additional information, I recommend viewing past articles and videos from media such as CNN and BBC who covered the operation in detail. This was one of the most memorable times in my life, and I am happy you are now informed on the events that took place, because November 7th, 2004 was a very important day in American history.